You know, I always assumed that everybody knew some of the things I talk about. But it turns out they don't. So, as it turns out, most people think that there are laws that stop the military from doing certain things behind closed doors, and that's not true. So, let me ask this. In boot camp, can they do and tell recruits to get you? Hmm. So if you ask the internet, chat GPT and all this stuff, in boot camp, can they hit you and tell recruits to hit you and mentally abuse you? This is the way. So basically, it's like, okay, well, this person isn't being a brother. They're uh, going against whatever crazy freaking code that we just make up in our heads so that we can commit crimes and get away with it. Um, then you ask the internet and everything, so the net tells you no. In the modern U.S. military, physical abuse and hazing are not condoned or permissible during training or at any other time. I had a drill instructor kick me in the mouth as I was doing push ups. And then when I said that, I think the only person that was up there besides me was a black guy that was next to me. And I'm not going to say his name, but like this was pretty early on, and I was like, "Yo." So I went to the senior drill instructor. And I was like, "I just like got kicked in the face, and like had sand kicked up. Like first he kicked sand in me, and then he kicked me in the face." And this is honestly probably one of the scariest moments of my life because the guy that I said, well, yeah, he was there too, comes in there and straight just says, no, that didn't happen. And I was like, whoa, 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 what? I was like, he did the same thing to you. He kicked us both in the fucking face. I was like, what do you mean? And I said that when after I got freaking smoked, and I went up to him and I was like, yo, I was like, what was that? I was like, why would you just sit there and lie and then have me just completely destroyed? And he said to me, and I quote, he said, I'm not trying to get into all of that. It was like, dude, I'm just trying to get out of here. And I was like, wow. I was like, so this is how it happens. Anyways, so the internet tells you regulations and guidelines are in place to ensure that recruits are treated professionally and with respect, while training, especially boot camp, is designed to be physically and mentally challenging to prepare recruits for the rigorous of the military service. There are clear boundaries. Yeah, right. Drill instructors and military are now allowed to hit physical abuse recruits. Okay. Mental abuse. So I recruits men undergo intense stress and pressure as part of their training to prepare them for military situations. Any form of degrading treatment, humiliation, or mental abuse is not allowed, except for the drill instructor that came in drunk while we were there. Came into this third deck kilo company, like talking about some kid being a Muslim or something because he was Middle Eastern and had the whole platoon like jumping this kid at night. And then we go to breakfast, sitting in the line, and brother nose dives off the third deck kilo and kills himself. Oh, right. But there's no mental abuse. Hazing is strictly prohibited across all branches of the military. This includes causing any physical harm or threatening harm, seeking or causing to have any financial benefits from another, making another do any form of work, and making another do any form of work or duty by getting financial benefits from that. Well, I don't know if I haven't described hazing yet, then I don't know what hazing is. But I can definitely assure you that we got in a circle, and one of the drill instructors was like, "Hey, now look, back in my day, whenever someone did that, when the lights went out, we'd beat them with soaps and socks." And I'm like, "Why would you? Like, I know why you're saying that, because you're implying you want us to do that to this guy." And I strongly disagree that that is the route that we should take. And so, if they do this in the Marine Corps, they for sure as hell do it in the Army, or maybe I don't know, but I don't know. The Army's supposed to be easier, but if they're doing it in this Marine Corps, I can assure you they're doing this in the CIA. So I can assure you that all of those unclassified documents that come from like the 1950s and 60s about them having plants in crowds so that they can instigate riots and peaceful protests so that the police can come in and get them off the streets, because the police can't act against peaceful protesters. So they have to make a riot out of it to get them out. They did that plenty of times when Martin Luther King was doing stuff. And then, you had Alabama, with their water hoses spraying down people, white and black. And then you have CIA unclassified documentation sitting on the freaking congressional website saying, yeah, we went to Iran and killed their leader because that leader wanted to join the Soviet Union, and install our own leader that wanted to join NATO so that we could become a powerhouse. And then when I talk about these things, I get told, "Oh, you're crazy. That's a conspiracy theory." No, it's actually just the reality that I lived. I'm sorry to tell you that all these laws you see, yeah, people don't follow a piece of paper. People only follow force. And when you just randomly write a piece of paper with no force behind it, it's very useless. And I can show you how. Do not smoke weed. I can write that down. We've done that. You know what's wild about it? It's literally as useless as this because they sell it in Tennessee where it's a no tolerance state. And they call it a different variant. I'm like, okay, well, let's go test that one out then. Then you go there and you take it, and hell, it's stronger than the freaking whatever the original is. And I'm like, wow, okay, not trying that again. Can't breathe. And so, like, I don't understand anything that we do as human beings. So I just go to college. And then the VA sucks. You know why the VA sucks? Because for the past 7 months, I've been trying to switch from the GI Bill to the Veterans Readiness Program, so that I can use those education benefits and then use my GI Bill to go to secondary school. And these people are playing with me for 6 months, 7 months. Nobody's contacted me. Got an application. They said, "Oh, you're approved. We're going to get you a counselor." 7 months later, still no counselor. So I ain't got an email. I don't know how that works, but I'll tell you what I am going to do, because they don't tell veterans how to readapt into society. So I've decided starting a nonprofit organization. It is, I forgot what the name was. Oh yeah, Harper's Restoring Hearts. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a 501c4. And the goal for this organization is to help veterans find support groups, because the therapy through the VA is crap, and then the therapy through civilians, they just tell you everything that you're saying is a lie. Experienced that one. Yeah, like I don't know. Has anybody ever showed up to a counselor and you tell them like what happened to you, and then they say, "Yeah, that's a lie. That's not what happens." Oh, I'm sorry. Were you in the military? Were you there? I was like, oh, have you ever been there? Oh, you haven't. Okay, then shut up. Like that was my initial thought. But apparently, that's not nice. But apparently, it's nice though to tell veterans that what they saw isn't real. Because apparently, also in the military, whenever they say something like, whenever they're given instruction and they're like, "Hey, no physical abuse. Drill instructors or any other military personnel are not allowed to hit or physical abuse recruits. Anybody want to respond?" Oh, wait, no, that's not what they say. Hold on. No, they say, it goes a little something like this. Physical abuse. Drill instructors or any other military personnel are not allowed to hit physical abuse recruits. Mental abuse while recruits undergo intense stress and pressure as a part of their training and to prepare for the military situations. Any form of degrading treatment, humiliation, or mental abuse is not allowed. Kill! And everybody yells, kill! And I said that, and the guy told me I lied. I was like, what? And I was like, dude, how are you going to tell me what happens at boot camp is a lie or not? I was like, I'm just telling you, this is what they told us. And I said it. Now I come out and I tell you that, and you tell me it's a lie and tell me I'm crazy. Okay. Like, what is the point? Yeah, anyway, so veterans get no readaptation, get no help. You go to the VA, get all these long waiting times. It's very unhelpful. And we don't have enough nonprofit organizations that help veterans readapt back into society. And honestly, I don't even think that's possible. After you see some of the things that you see readapting back into society and acting like the rest of the world doesn't exist like we do in America, yeah, that's hard to do. But with that being said, wow, we really do live in a fictional world over here. Like you really have people that like, no joke, literally get on like social medias and everything and really have no idea how the world actually works. Wow, it's a pretty big revelation. Like people think that the United States, that what you see over here is the dictation of the rest of the world, and that is literally the most inaccurate thing ever. Like the United States is a fantasy land. Honestly, it really is. Like what happens here, like what you can do here, you can do nowhere else. And everybody's like completely distracted by all of these material things that they don't even like know how the government like even truly operates and how the deep state truly operates and how bureaucrats truly operate. Anyways, so veterans don't readapt well when they need social support groups, life coaches, other necessities and accesses to anything that can help them. And so that is a nonprofit that I'm creating tomorrow. I have to get a. I was trying to do it Friday, but I didn't know how to have an EIN for employment because I have to employ people as well. So that's where I'm at right now. I was going to also continue my thought on continuance, but really there's not really much left to say in it. Religious people have continuance through God, and so they're always going to be trying to think about their choices that they make so that they can set up their kids' future and set up the future of their name so that they enter into their kingdom of heaven or whatever their interpretation is for eternal life, whether it be reincarnation or a heaven of some sorts. They find continuance in that. And so they live a good life, questioning their desires and everything they do to make sure, I'm not being destructive to myself and God's name and my legacy name under God. Whereas non-religious people only have legacy. And so when you create a society where I now say, hey, you can just go, like, you don't have to worry about having a kid and having a family. You can just live the next 80 years and go play in society and just live your life to the best of your, to whatever is most fun for you. And then when you get to 80 and you have no legacy because you spent all of your time playing in the society that was created by the families above who don't worship a God, uh, but make these legacies of pharmaceutical companies for their children to constantly get wealth, defense companies that pass on to their children for them to get wealth, um, certain, like any other companies or organizations like Disney gets passed down by through their family. Um, all these major companies you see that set up the design in the world to distract everybody so that if they don't have God, they're not thinking about creating a legacy anymore. So therefore, they're not thinking about their actions and desires. Instead, they're just acting on whatever feels good in the moment because they have no need for continuance. They get to go into a world that's been constructed and they get to play in it and be distracted. And then they never make a legacy. But to the counter of that, if that's the life you want to live, that's completely your choice. If you feel like your existence doesn't mean anything and you just pop up as a 18-year-old after your trial period and you get to the age of 18 and then you're like, well, I don't really have anything to live for, so I'm just going to go amass some money how I can and just go do whatever makes me feel good. I mean, that's your way of coping. It's your way of coping. But when you die, you'll be forgotten and nobody will remember you. But that was the thing of that was with the Epic of Gilgamesh from a non-religious standpoint of I want to be remembered and have eternal life. So let me have eternal life through my legacy, through my business, or setting up generational wealth for my kids, or whatever it is to enact this legacy. And so that rose not the non-religious ideology of, hey, let's critically think and create a code of ethics so that we can create something marvelous for humans in the future. And so in society, they always create a group of people that they prey on, who are the people that don't really want to take part in everything, but then they live in a world where they're offered all of these things, material things that we have and do. Like you can go to Disney World or Orlando Studios or whatever, and go play in the Harry Potter land and all this stuff. And they draw all these people in, and those are the people that they always make their money off of. And that's the same people with pharmaceutical companies, all the list goes on. Everybody who lives in the moment. So really your only two saving graces, other than being a pawn to manipulation of society, is through God or through creating a legacy yourself. Otherwise, you really don't have anything else to live for but in the moment actions. So, because what else is that point? If you're not thinking about continuation, you're going to revert back to primal emotion and just following your emotions of what makes you feel good. Because that's how you deal with the existential crisis. Drug users do it. If I have a trauma that happens to me and now I'm starting to question everything, I turn to drugs to make myself feel better. It's the same effect. You live in a society where you're like, man, this sucks, the system's rigged. This is all just a game, whatever, whatever, just give me some money so I can go sit on the beach or go get on this yacht. And then you're doing the same thing. You're not trying to think about the existential things. And that's exactly what a person who's not religious, who's thinking about like, oh, let me carry on my family name and set my kid up to have cancer patients to treat in the future so he can continue to make money and have his passive income to make his life better. And then religious people are just like, oh, well, I'll die and go be with the Lord. Either way, it's a coat mechanic for death. That's my philosophy. People don't even realize that death actually does affect them. And they just try not to think about it. Anyways, though, I'm a veterans organization. It's going to be called Harper's Helping Hearts. Is that what I said? Or Harper's Restoring Hearts. That's what I said. So coming this next week, I'm thinking I'll set up like donation stuff for that as well, so that I can get to that in serving the Western Tennessee, Western Kentucky area for that. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is the much shorter podcast because this was just me talking about emotional things. But actually, I would like to read a poem from my book. Let me see here real quick. So I have a book on Amazon that I have also posted on my Facebook for DJSpoonarooni and Google Docs. I wrote a poem called Eden's Paradox in my book of poems. In shadow's cloak where mysteries entwine, a serpent whispers secrets, a forbidden sign, knowledge of good and evil attempting brew, the serpent's gift, a choice both old and new. He, the fallen king, defied the farmer's lore, released us from the garden's shackles evermore. No longer bound to soil, we dared aspire to rise above the mundane, higher and higher. In cryptic realms where darkness reigns supreme, we crafted dreams like fragments of a twisted dream. Ominous whispers echoed through the night as we embraced both darkness and the light. In this enigma's dance, we found our way to sculpt our destinies night and day. From slaves of Eden, we arose anew, boundless in our potential, our choices true. For in the melding of good and evil's art, we discovered the essence of the human heart. In shadows and secrets, we forged our fate, balancing on that fine line, both love and hate. As we crafted our path, we soared so high, yet greatness came with shadows by and by. From nature's bounty, concoctions we create, but in our discoveries, we found a higher fate. We charted the cosmos, measured time's flow, yet a miracle remained, a truth we'd come to know. For all our wisdom, when fact held true, a touch divine was required to renew our creations, once a blessing, now veiled in guise, obscured our pain, yet revealed its ties. We offered the desperate escape from strife, a life where their legacy fades like the evening's light. Living for the moment, they journey toward the void, living behind their heritage like dreams destroyed. In this reckless pursuit, their own undoing they find, lost in a world where the past and future are confined. And then I also did I like this one too, I think. In a realm where this is called Labyrinth of Legacy. In a realm where roots dare not entwine, the dance of lineage has lost its rhyme. From dual edges, lines once did twine, and now silent in the void of time. To the devout in shadows they tread, seeking paths where angels fear to thread. Without offspring, yet not only lone, for in whisper winds their faith is sown. Ancient echoes resound, a haunting lullaby in the heart of the abyss where hopes might lie. Yet amid the gloom, a beacon, albeit frail, guides the lost along a ghostly trail. But in this world, veiled in night's haze, legacy echoes is but a distant phase. Godless, childless, where might I belong? To eternal sirens, I'm drawn by their song. I dance with the ephemeral, in darkness we waltz, chasing fleeting dreams, opening ephemeral vaults. Yet the hunger for legacy gnaws deep and cold, its absence an enigma, an eerie story untold. In the murk, instincts resurge, raw and wild. To them I'm drawn like an innocent child. In a labyrinth of shadows, I'm led astray by the haunting murmurs of yesterday. Yes, welcome to my poetry accent. There's another one, something else that I wrote. It was more so about, oh yeah, this is it. In Shadows Cast, I took the hero's role. This is called, oh, sorry, Shadowed Echoes is what I named this. In Shadows Cast, I took the hero's role, bound by creed, mind, and body whole. Yet within hollowed halls, truth untold, twisted tales as dark events unfold. Whispered words from depths unknown, where shadows dance and fears are sown. Behind locked doors, darkness would ensue, striking blows, mind games, not a few. Ordered hits, brother against kin, the spiral down, a forced descent within. Among them all, no hand reached out, in selfish depths they all would flout. A boot squirrel kiss, gas in my eyes, yet truth remained veiled in lies. When the voice raised, face turned away, in the dark dance the piper I'd pay. In cryptic tales my stories told of hollowed hearts and courage sold, a haunting echo, a lingering cry, in the shadows grasp where secrets lie. In newfound freedom they cast me aside to a world that's blind where truths reside, released to the streets where none can see the scars I bear, the cost being free. No guiding hand, no bridge to span from war torn soul to common man. Eyes averted, face turned away, unseeing unknowingly in the light of day. Whispers of battle silently scream in the world deaf to a soldier's dream. The chasm grows vast and deep between my tales and the world's sleep. For in their blindness they cannot know the depths I've seen, the shadows I stow. Alone I wander amidst their din, a silent seneschal with battles within. Amidst the clamor of screens and voices, media's echo with drawn out choices. They label truths as wild tale spuns, yet in our hearts we know what's done. The puppet master behind their veil dictate the narrative, set the trail. They call us mad, our stories dismissed, yet we've seen the hands, the iron fisted. Behind the scenes where shadows play, machinations twist night into day. We, the knowing, bear heavy the cost for truths we've seen and innocence lost. For they wield power cold and vast, a chilling breeze from a haunting past. We stand, though broken, still aware of the hidden depths of their vacant stare. Hmm. Yep, and that's on Amazon, by the way. I have Book of Poems by Sean Poole on Amazon. And I actually need to update the manuscript because I added more to my poem book. And any updates that I add into my poem book, I update to the ebook on Kindle. And once I get to where I have 72 pages, I will create paperback and probably close that poem book and then probably make a new one if I continue to write more. 72 pages of poems is quite a lot, actually, because I've only got 13 poems that are not really that short. That's yeah, it's only like 20 pages, so still got a long ways to go for that. Right. I was downloading this to update so that I can tell everyone about it right now. Okay, there we go. So, anyways, so it's on Amazon. It's also in my link in my description on for my podcast playlist. Yeah, the playlist for the podcast. A link to the ebook Kindle is on there. And if you subscribe to the Kindle thing, it's also free because I have it in the KDP, the world thing. So if people subscribe, they can just read it for free. So yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully people will donate to my veterans assistance, Harper Recovering Hearts, so that we can help veterans in Western Kentucky and Western Tennessee. Find better support groups since the VA really lacks on that, and civilian people really are mean sometimes for whatever reason. I don't know why you would become a psychologist to tell people that they're lying about their experiences. Even if they were lying, why would you say that as a psychologist? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You would kind of like navigate them through things and help them establish their current reality, not tell them that their past reality was false. That's how you send people into weird panic attacks and stuff because humans can't handle the truth of things. And that goes for any human being. Like, tell I mean, I don't really want to go down all that route because I feel like that's probably too much to say. But I mean, like, if you brainwash somebody and then say, "Hey, yeah, we've just been brainwashing you this whole time," they genuinely freak out and don't believe it because people don't want to admit that they didn't catch certain things like that. It's a hard thing to cope with for people. It's also a hard thing to cope with for me. I go to college now and I learn about all these tactics that were used on me, and I'm like, wow, I fell for that. I was like, that's interesting. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a good night.